Prince William exploded, and can you blame him? Absolutely not. By releasing pictures of Archie and Lily at Althorp with flowers about to visit Princess Diana's grave for the first time.
Prince William has made a bold, shocking, dramatic move, one that nobody can stop him from doing. With this, he has said enough is enough. You will not exploit the remains of my dead mother.
Meghan Markle knows what she's doing. Meghan Markle is not a dumb girl. In my opinion, she's a narcissist, she's a sociopath, she understands how the game is played. She was not gonna go to Diana's gravesite and not post a picture. I wanna know who's taking the picture in the black bathing suit. I will also say, because this is why y'all tune into this show, she's not delivering it like Princess Diana, but she must really think she's hot stuff.
Here is what nobody this week will say to your face. Prince William did not want them back. Not for a visit, not for a single afternoon, not at all. The word among those who know him is that he argued against it hard and was overruled by an unwell father who wanted to see his grandchildren before the chance was gone. So William stood down and let the door swing wide. And he said the one thing he has always said about the woman his brother married. Give her 1 inch of this family and she will find a way to hang a price tag on it.
This couple who have stooped to disgusting lows in their past, I personally believe hit a new one. And the reason that Prince William is so concerned about this, of course, is that it's just the beginning.
10 days later, Meghan Markle walked a camera straight up to Diana's graveside, arranged his mother's memory like a shop window, and served it to 90 million strangers with a little sunshine emoji stuck on the end. And make no mistake, she did not stumble into that picture. She composed it, and then she proved him right in front of the entire world.
Charles, you are a legend of Fleet Street. Can you give us a ballpark figure of the value of a photograph of Meghan and the kids back in the UK? What would that go for?
Oh, 6 figures without a shadow. That's
wow.
So spare me the headlines calling the Prince of Wales a bit upset. Look at what is really in front of you. A son made to watch the mother he lost turned into content on the run-up to the 30th anniversary of the worst day of his life by the very woman he warned them all about and told to stand there and smile through it. They say he is not upset. They say he is done. And this time, I ask you, what is left for the man to forgive with?
He made 2 documentaries with Harry, one for the BBC, one for ITV. It was on the strict understanding that these were to be the final word on their mother's death. 20 years on, 2 brothers who had come through the trauma were able to talk about it, were able to share their feelings and close the chapter. And so, of course, 10 years on, the fact that Harry is now back here commercializing his mother's death is going to upset William. I don't think it surprises him. I think he knew this was coming.
Let us be clear about what has really happened here, given how carefully the papers are keeping it vague. This is not a man cross about a bit of bad taste he could survive. This family has swallowed tackier things than a holiday snap and never blinked. What she did here is something else entirely, and everyone who has ever stood within 10 feet of William knows precisely what it is.
Most definitely. They are now leveraging the kids for clicks, for headlines, to boost their brand, and for money. Why else would you put your kids on Instagram? I got 2 kids, they're grown up, they're not on my social media. I'm not incentivized in any way to share images of my children with the public.
There is a line with that man. One line. You can go after him, you can go after his wife, you can sell whatever tale you like about the state of his marriage, and he will absorb every bit of it. Jaw set, saying nothing. The way he was raised too, but you do not touch his mother. You do not walk her memory out onto a public stage and set up a stall beside it. That is the single thing that reaches all the way down and turns that famously buttoned up man to stone. And that is what he watched happen, live, on the very phone the rest of us were clutching.
Prince William was consulted. In spite of being a minor, he had a say on where his mother was going to be buried. At the time, he decided that it would be Althorp because nobody's going to bother her, nor harass her, or exploit her, most importantly. He thought that his mother would finally find peace.
You will not be getting a statement out of him this week or ever. Kensington does not brief, does not leak, does not slip a friendly little quote out to soften the edges. So everything you are hearing is the read of people who have studied these 2 brothers for 20 years, and they all land in one spot. He is not sad about this.
As for Prince William, of course he is disgusted because this is one of his, how do you put it, Brittany, real sensitive spots. Like, yes, he does ignore Harry day to day. He doesn't want to talk about Harry. He doesn't want to talk about Meghan. He just wants to get on with things.
Something colder than sad. He is finished, in a way he has never quite been before, and the silence pouring off that palace is the loudest thing in the whole affair. The damning part is not the photograph. It is why that door was ever open for her to take it.
So their royal return came with King Charles's blessing. They were so lucky to be allowed back into the United Kingdom, because I can tell you that this government that we have at the moment are trying to tighten up illegal immigration, and they're trying to keep certain characters out of the country who have no right to be here. And I would include Harry and Meghan as two unwelcome aliens after everything they've done to the country.
To understand the fury, you have to go back a fortnight, to a room at Highgrove that almost nobody was allowed to see. This reunion, the one the whole planet is now fighting about, did not come from some quiet family healing. It came from one man's decision, forced through over the objections of the son who has never trusted these two for a single day of his life. The king is not a well man. I will leave his health right there, with the dignity it deserves, and say only the plain thing everybody feels and nobody prints.
King Charles asked them to keep their mouths shut, especially about their meeting. But a lot of people would be really upset if that did come to fruition in the UK specifically. I don't think taxpayers want to pay for the Harry and Meghan circus.
No.
And it's likely very frustrating for them to see that King Charles just met with them.
A father who has been through an illness like that starts counting what is left to him. He looked at grandchildren he had seen once in 4 years, and he decided that pride was a luxury he could no longer afford. He wanted to know those little ones before it was too late to matter, and so he let back in the very pair his elder son had begged him to keep out. And look how carefully he did it, behind closed doors. No press, no photographs, not a word released to a living soul. By every account, the Queen herself came back specially to sit in that room, a witness, so that not one syllable of what passed could be twisted afterwards into something it was not.
Queen Camilla went to the Harry and Meghan reunion because the king needed a witness to make sure that they couldn't lie about what happened and that they couldn't lie about what was said. That's how low the trust is. So if Harry thinks he's home and hosed with Charles, good luck with that. But the bottom line is that they stuck within the rules. But Meghan gets a picture of Archie and Lily, an extension of her brand, extension of her identity, and it's in England, and it's at the Diana estate.
That is not the staging of a warm family reunion. That is a wary, unwell man offering the last olive branch he may ever offer, guarding himself with both hands as he does it, some hard-old instinct already whispering how it would be repaid. William, so we're told, hated every part of it, thought the door should have stayed bolted, thought they would take the mercy and turn it into merchandise. And you can hear in the fury this week, a man who is not only angry at her, he is angry that he was right, and that being right cost his father this wound.
They're under the impression that he might be privy to the plan or a part of the plan.
I think they think they can soften him up, but I think with William and Camilla together, I think there is absolutely no chance of that happening. I think you'll find the king did it for a good reason, and I'm sure he loved it. I mean, I was reading that they FaceTime all the time. That's fine. But I just think he's probably far more aware of what potentially can go wrong than ever before.
There is a specific kind of rage a person keeps for the moment they warned everyone, were waved away as bitter, and then had to stand and watch it unfold exactly as they said it would. He was proven right inside 10 days. That guarded, private, once-in-a-lifetime afternoon, the reconciliation his ailing father had reached for at real cost to his own pride, became, without a whisper of warning to anyone, the opening slide of a summer holiday carousel. The king gave her the one thing on earth that money cannot buy, access to this family. And she had cashed it before the fortnight was out.
A total betrayal, having promised King Charles that their UK return would be private and discreet. The Sussexes have proved once again that they cannot be trusted, folks. You cannot do business with these people.
We get to Rob Shooting's new reporting over Prince William's reaction to that. He also alleges that King Charles is even shocked. Well, I'm not sure how shocked King Charles is, to be honest, given he's made this offer for Prince Harry to stay at Buckingham Palace. I think these days Charles just ignores what Harry is doing because he doesn't want to know the reality of quite how low his son, his youngest, has stooped.
Here's where the grieving family leave them be defense falls to pieces. That photograph was no private moment that tumbled by accident onto the internet. It was manufactured top to bottom. Think about what we never saw. For the entire trip, not one paparazzi shot ever surfaced. Not a long lens over a hedge, not a grainy frame of the car, the airport, the estate, nothing. For a couple who have spent 6 years insisting they cannot buy a pint of milk without being hunted, the whole visit was airtight, silent, not a soul got near them. And then she went on Instagram and served the images to the world herself.
I think William completely and utterly respects that. Everything William and his family have done at Althorp has been completely and utterly private. I don't even think we're aware of a trip that they've made there. And I think that's perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong also as well with Harry and Meghan visiting, but commercializing it. I mean, that should just be a glaring warning sign to Charles that Harry and Meghan have no boundaries.
The only pictures that exist of that graveside are the precise ones she chose to give us. So look again at what she chose. Look at the children, turned exactly away from the lens. The long avenue of trees, framed like a film poster. Those flowers, set just so. That is not what a phone snap looks like when a grieving family remembers to take one. It is composition. It is a shoot, produced with the same polished, everyone in position, faces to the back hands that have styled every big set piece this pair have ever put out.
Have we ever seen photos of Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, and or their children at this hallowed place? We have not. I columned on this over at the Daily Mail over the weekend. That is the nadir for Meghan. I mean, it's the bottom. I mean, just when you think she cannot go lower, she outdoes herself. As I've always said, Meghan's the best at being the worst.
And remember who we are dealing with. This is a couple who go to court when a photograph they did not authorize gets out, who have sued more than once over a single long lens frame of their own children. They do not lose control of an image. In 6 years, they never have. So the notion that this one, of all of them, at that grave, of all places, simply slipped out unplanned is an insult to anyone who has watched them operate for 5 minutes.
It's so incredibly disgusting, and I can't help but imagine Prince William would be incensed. There's nothing wrong with them visiting Diana's grave, but why did she have to disrespect Harry and her children by posting about it? This is a woman who's claimed for years that all she wants for her family is privacy, and then she commoditizes her children and the memory of her deceased mother-in-law for the world to see.
You do not get an accidental masterpiece at the most guarded grave in Britain. You get a frame like that when somebody has planned it, walked the ground, and known to the penny what the finished thing is worth. Which drags us to the only question that matters now. Worth to whom? Worth for what?
No photos, no publicity, no interviews. Good luck with that. This is Meghan Markle we're talking about. My husband. So Meghan couldn't resist, could she? She just couldn't help herself, bending the rules with a huge photo drop on her Instagram, publicizing her UK return. She had to show off. She had to flex her muscles. She had to send a very clear message. I am back. I'm the Duchess with a capital D, and I'm an English royal princess all over again.
You do not build images that careful for the family album. You build them to go somewhere. They are the first frames of something far larger. And there is a date on the horizon that snaps the whole business into focus. The 31st of August, 2027, 30 years on from the night that broke this family in half, a date the entire television industry has already ringed in red. Given that grief on that scale, at a round number, is worth a small fortune to whoever gets to tell it. We have seen how large that number gets.
Do not be deluded to believe that Harry and Meghan do not have a whole year to slowly but surely commercialize the 30th anniversary of the death of Princess Diana. Yes, it's gross and grim, but this couple are increasingly desperate and they need money. And where is the money going to come from? We know it's from a likely Netflix documentary, I believe it will end up on Netflix, being filmed at the Althorp estate.
The last time a Diana anniversary came around, the films made for it pulled some of the biggest audiences those channels had seen in years. The public does not tire of her. It never has. And that is a temptation, for the right sort of people, that sits well beyond taste or shame. So, of course, the whisper has started, the whisper that will not die, no matter how fast the denials fly out, that a certain couple, with a great deal to prove and an anniversary ripe for the picking, mean to be the ones who tell the Diana story next year. Their way, on their own platform, on camera.
And let me be clear, that is not me suggesting that there were big fat camera crews there, because Meghan and Harry are far too smart for that, far too crafty to be accused of that. But the footage is all here. It's all you need. It's all Netflix needed for the documentary. As long as they have enough material on their mobile phones at the Althorp site, it is very likely that Netflix or another streaming service, potentially, of course it has to be offered to Netflix first, will pay out the big bucks.
And this is not idle chatter from the cheap seats. Angela Levin, who has watched this pair up close for years and does not soften a syllable, said it flat, no hesitation. Those graveside pictures in her reading were never a tribute. They were content. The visit itself, she reckons, was the shoot. The whole trip quietly harvested as raw material for the film she believes is coming.
It's just terrible. They are so full of nastiness and getting their own feelings back on everybody. They don't care. I just don't understand how Harry could want to do this. This is for his mother, who he loves, so he says, and to turn it into a show is just...
Now, is there hard proof of a crew in the trees? No. And there is the beauty of it, from her side. You no longer need a crew. You need one immaculate photographer, one flawless frame, and a caption. And there is your teaser, out free to 90 million people, softening the ground for the big one. She is not mourning Diana. She is developing her.
All of these pictures have a particular meaning. All of them are designed to clap back at certain elements of our coverage over the past few weeks. She knows exactly what she's doing here, including the weird cosplaying of Princess Diana and the even weirder decision to try and overshadow Prince George's 13th birthday with new pictures of Archie's.
And if you imagine this is the first time, you have not been watching. There is a pattern here, and once it is pointed out to you, you will not be able to stop seeing it. This is a woman who has been reaching for Diana for years. The interviews that borrow her cadence, photo shoots styled frame for frame, after Diana's most famous images, right down to a swimsuit on a beach that half the internet matched inside an hour, visits that trace her footsteps. And the story even goes, or so we're told by people who have never let it drop, that she once had herself taken slowly through the very tunnel in Paris. She reaches for the most loved woman this country has produced in a century and drapes herself in her over and over.
The last, 8-10 years of all the outfits she's copied of Diana's. And, it's actually quite Oedipal and weird. It's almost as if she's trying to remind Harry, I'm Mummy. And remember, you married the woman.
I'm still in her perfume.
Yes, exactly. I'm the woman that your mother sent you to marry. I'm embodying her spirit.
Diana is the one crown she was never handed and can somehow still wear. And here's the detail that curdles it from sad into something worse. This supposedly is a champion of children's privacy. The same woman who stood on a stage in Geneva only weeks earlier at a memorial for children lost to the internet and lectured the whole planet on shielding little ones from precisely the sort of exposure she has built a brand upon.
Meghan does not show the children's faces, and so that therefore this is somehow their privacy is being protected. It's completely absurd, frankly, because what Meghan is doing by not showing the faces or by revealing them very slowly, by revealing side portions or half portions, is feeding what marketers call a curiosity gap.
Children, she said, are not data points. And then she walked two of her own down to a graveside and made them the content. An ocean away, meanwhile, those two children have a grandfather who has never met them, not once. Her own father telling anyone who will listen that he has never so much as laid eyes on his own grandchildren, even as she flies these two across the world to be photographed at the resting place of a woman she never met in her life.
What's happening, I think, with Archie and Lily is they're being brought front and center into the Sussex brand. They've been referenced when it comes to their charity work and Archwell Philanthropies, which, by the way, changes its name every 10 minutes because that's another hot mess.
One side of the family gets a pilgrimage, a photographer, and a caption. The other gets a locked door, and you are still expected to file all of this under love. And do not imagine the public is being fooled by a second of it. The most recent polling has this woman at the lowest approval of her entire time in this country, a fraction of where the Prince and Princess of Wales stand, and drifting lower yet. People can spot a staged grief from 100 miles off. They have had years of practice with this one, so they say.
Consider that Prince William has visited Diana's grave. Surely with Catherine, Princess of Wales, and their children, have we ever seen a photo of them at Althorp? So she's pointing out that Harry and Meghan take pictures of their kids at Althorp. We've never seen that from William and Catherine. She said, of course we haven't seen it from William and Catherine. William and Catherine are decent, serious people who understand that some things are sacred.
So come back, at the last, to the man at the window, the one saying nothing at all. Understand who William really is in this story. The coverage keeps shrinking him to a bystander sulking in the wings, and he is nothing of the kind. He is the only soul in this entire saga who lived the original. As a boy, he stood inside the exact machine we are all watching get switched back on. He watched his mother turned into the most photographed, most hunted, most sold woman on the face of the earth, and saw what the lenses and the chase and the endless strip of managed images did to her.
Diana was buried on that island at her family's private residence, Althorp, precisely to keep her graveside from becoming a circus, a tourist attraction, a commodity. And of course, what Maureen is arguing is that that's what Harry and Meghan have done by going there on this UK trip and publishing this photograph. They're publishing photographs of the Althorp estate, Diana's childhood home, and her resting place, and they're putting it on Instagram with Archie and Lily for clicks, for headlines to boost their brand, and for money.
Up close, at an age when no child should witness any of it. Then he spent his whole adult life building the deliberate opposite, the shut door, the grief kept private, that birthday portrait he puts out himself, on his own terms, and never a frame more than he chooses to give. Every single thing he has built from the day he lost her has been one long argument against this exact business.
What's difficult for the king is, as we said, he wants to meet his grandchildren. He wants the meeting to take place. I'm sure you've got William there saying, Dad, you've got to be really, really careful because this could completely backfire. And I'm sure William doesn't want it to backfire, but I think there's been already quite a few occasions where William's probably turned around to his father and sadly said, see, Dad, I told you so. And it's really awkward for the king because, this is his son he probably knows his son is right with what he's saying, but he's still a father, he's still a grandfather, and he's still trying to do that job as well.
Two children whose faces the world has barely been allowed to see. A wife shielded from the machine at every turn, even at the cost of the headlines and the goodwill. A grief kept behind a wall on purpose, so nobody could ever again sell tickets to it. It was no accident. It was the deliberate work of the one man alive who knows exactly what the alternative looked like from the inside.
What do you think Harry's brother, William, will have made of the royal reunion?
My gut is he would have probably said to his father to be cautious.
Yeah.
I think he would obviously not want to be there for very obvious reasons. I think he'd been very keen. I'm sure he would love to be a fly on the wall, but I'm sure his father updated him right after the meeting as to what all took place.
He knows what this is, having seen it before. And he knows what it costs, having paid it in full. Now he stands and watches his mother's memory loaded back onto the very machine that hounded her right to the end by the brother who stood at his shoulder at the funeral and swore that he would spend his life protecting her. That is why there is no statement. There will never be a statement. There are simply no words for this clean enough to print.
But look, this is important. Meghan needed a photo because the photo is always the story. Ask any journalist. And she didn't have it. But because she's so smart, she realized that if she puts out a photograph of Archie and Lily at the Althorp estate, which is, of course, the childhood home of Diana, Princess of Wales, and where she was laid to rest, that's Meghan's subtle way of saying, I'm back. And, of course, using the kids, because Archie and Lily are a proxy for the Sussex brand. They're a proxy for Meghan's public identity.
So let me say it plainly, the thing this whole polished, sun-dappled carousel was built to keep you from saying out loud. This was never a tribute. A tribute does not arrive with a product behind it and an anniversary on the clock. This was a woman who has never been handed the crown she believes she is owed, reaching one more time for the only name that still swings every door in the world, and using two small children and a gravesite to get her hands on it.
I think probably if they had just shut up, sort of Duke of Windsor, Wallace Simpson style, released a very banal book about the British royal family, hadn't done the Oprah lies, hadn't done the Netflix attacks, hadn't ridden Spare, probably there would have been people who were prepared to just write them checks to do nothing.
And the cruelest turn of the whole thing is the timing of the kindness. An unwell grandfather set aside his own son's warnings and his own wounded pride to let them in, wanting only to know his grandchildren before the chance was gone for good. The thanks he got, inside a fortnight, was to watch that private mercy repackaged as promotion for the very brand that needs his mother's name to breathe.
They're willing to commercialize anything to make money because Meghan has very, very expensive taste. And unfortunately, she married quite a dim man who can't actually make money at the end of the day. Who would have thunk it? But she thought he can make money. He can't. And so they're just going to mine Harry's family until the end of time where Meghan finally finds a richer man to marry. And that's just so incredibly squeamish and ugly and disgusting.
William saw all of it coming. He said so out loud to the one man who could have kept the door shut, and he was waved away as bitter. Now he is the one left standing in the wreckage, sitting on a silence that has finally completely run out of forgiveness. They keep asking whether Meghan went too far this time. Wrong question. She went exactly as far as she meant to. The only thing left to settle is what the brother does about it now, and whether a family that keeps letting her back through its door has the faintest idea what it will cost them the next time she walks in.
Harry must never feel safe when Meghan is around, because if he knew that she was snapping away and they were personal moments that the world was never going to see, maybe he'd be okay with that. But given the so-called deep trauma that he has spoken about all the time in regards to camera flashes, there is a great irony now that the real woman who he needs to be the real thing he needs to be protected from is his own woman, who's constantly flashing away.
Now, over to you. Well, I never did see a tribute that needed a professional photographer. But there we are. Do you think Prince William is right to be finished with them for good this time? Or is he letting old wounds do the talking? Tell me exactly where you stand down below, and do not keep a word of it back. I read every single one. And do hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach the people who still care how this family really works. Subscribe as well. There's a great deal more coming this week. Next, we lay them out side by side, every Diana image this pair have quietly staged before this one. The photographer, the pattern, the whole careful operation. You'll want to see them together. Be here for it.